Welcome to the third edition of South African Radio Crime Stories. In this edition we start with Castle Playhouse and the Robber and the Priest story. Then followed by Lux Radio Theatre episode called Public Prosecutor, and last but not least Playhouse Theatre, called The Weather for Murder, so sit back and enjoy.
This is Castle Playhouse. From the stages and studios, producers and playwrights of the world, your hosts, the brewers of Castle Lager, bring you the week's finest radio entertainment, Castle Playhouse.
Robber and the Priest.
It is often stated by opponents of the Church that she condemns those who innocently and unwittingly commit deeds which she, the Church, regards as sinful. And this is, of course, not so. An action, a word, or thought is only wrong if we know it in the first case to be so. And with this full knowledge, persist in going our own way. Let me conclude by quoting the words that great poet and dramatist of our times puts into the mouth of one of his characters.
Ah, here it comes.
Colonel.
If we were all judged according to the consequences of all our words and deeds, beyond the intention and beyond our limited understanding of ourselves and others, we should all be condemned.
I told you so. Half a crown, you owe me.
Quiet, Colonel.
So, if in your words, actions, and thoughts you do not intend to defy or ignore what your conscience tells you to be the will of God, then you remain as innocent of evil as a newborn babe. Oh, and one final and personal remark. I should like to say how touched and grateful I am that some of you, with all the calls I have to make on your generosity from time to time, still contribute to the fund for the restoration of our crucifixion stained glass window. Indeed, I am hoping, when I empty the box after the service today, that I shall find we have reached the halfway figure to our target, which is, as you know, £200. And now for our final hymn today, we will sing, Now Thank We All Our God.
Would you like to come back to the vicarage for a cup of coffee, Colonel?
Oh, would I be in the way?
You can help Stephen count the collection.
Oh, very well.
Good morning, Mrs. Slater.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Glossop. How's Mrs. Glossop?
She's gone to Colchester today. I'm afraid the vicar's just a little too much of a spike for her, if you'll forgive me. But I tell her it's the same God, isn't it? Does it matter where you worship him?
Quite.
And this is a beautiful little church. Beautiful little church. I can quite understand the vicar and his stained glass window. In fact, I've got half a crown for him.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Glossop, thank you.
And how's Mrs. Glossop? She's in Colchester.
Oh, she thinks I'm a bit of a spike, doesn't she? Oh, good morning, Miss Faraday.
Goodbye, Mrs. Glossop. Goodbye, Colonel.
Oh, before I forget, Colonel, here's your half a crown.
Oh, thank you. Well, is this the place to conduct your financial transaction?
Well, it's your fault, Stephen.
Mine?
The Colonel bet me half a crown you couldn't keep T.S. Eliot out of your sermon.
Yes, yes. However, it's an ill wind.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
I've asked the Colonel over for a cup of coffee.
Oh, right, my dear. Now, I'll see you in a few minutes.
Come along, Colonel. We can read a scandal in the Sunday press. Anything spicy in the news?
No, just a lot more about these train robber fellows and what's happened to all that money.
Will they ever get it back?
Nearly £1 million? Oh, most of it's outside the country, I should say.
Well, there must be some of it still about. Sugar?
Thank you. A wonderful bit of organization. We could do with some of these fellows in the government.
Oh, surely we're robbed enough as it is.
Thank you. Well, yes, but if we've got to be robbed, it might as well be with efficiency.
Now, Colonel, you do sound conventional. Look, if you'll excuse me a moment, I must put the oven on. Will you answer that for me, Colonel?
Yeah, right, yes. Hello? This is the vicarage.
Oh, good morning, Vicar.
I'm not the vicar.
Oh. Are you the curate?
You must be out of your mind.
I'm
Thank
so
you,
sorry.
Colonel. Hello?
Hello. Hester Pringle here.
Oh, yes, Miss Pringle. I'm afraid my husband's not back from church yet, but can I give him a message?
Well, I've been expecting to hear from him.
Is it about the stained glass window?
Yes. If he could telephone me, I've got a suggestion for him.
Well, look, he shouldn't be long. I'll tell him as soon as he comes in.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Goodbye. That's the artist who's working on the stained glass window.
Oh, I see.
Stephen wrote to the Reigate College of Art, and they've suggested her.
Well, I must say I admire him over this appeal. He couldn't have been more determined if it had been the Leonardo cartoon.
Oh, if my husband hadn't been a clergyman, I think he'd have been a patron of the arts, or at least if he had money, he'd have been both. Oh, there he is. We're in the front room, Stephen.
Oh, right.
Look, if you want some coffee, bring another cup.
Oh, haven't we any sherry for the Colonel?
Well, if we had, he wouldn't touch it.
Well, I think I will.
All right, well, put the loot down there while I get the shot.
That's no way to refer to the Sunday collection. My wife, I fear, persists in relating my approach to the congregation with that of a robber to his victims.
If there's the right reasons, darling.
You can't rob for the right reasons.
Huh? Well, if a fellow swindled me out of my money, wouldn't I be justified in employing any means to get it back?
Any means within the law.
Don't pursue it, Colonel. My husband's principles are as unswerving as his taste. There, drink your sherry, darling.
Thank you.
Oh, and when you've finished, will you ring Miss Pringle? She's got a suggestion to make.
A suggestion? Oh, I hope she doesn't want any more money.
I thought you'd agreed on the thing.
No, yes, I mean more in advance.
In advance? Do you mean you paid her some already?
No, only towards the purchase of the actual glass.
Wasn't that taking a chance?
I don't think so. I had a glowing account of her work for Reigate, and she seemed an honest enough girl.
Yes, but what if something happened to her before it was finished?
Oh, that's a thought.
Not a very cheerful one.
How would you face your parishioners?
Well, naturally, I should render an account and, well, if necessary, reimburse them.
Oh, what with?
We'd have to pawn my jewellery, dear. Both earrings. Oh, that's another thing my husband could have been, Colonel. A gambler.
One has to take a risk sometimes.
Oh, there you are. Oh, well, you ring her up while we count the filthy lucre raised by your trusting flock.
Oh, well, very well. Oh, here's the key.
Right, now let's sweet. Heavens, there's a fiver. Oh, Mrs. Hasty again, I suppose.
Oh, no, she'd have told me.
Oh, Colonel, it was you.
Oh, well, I know my right hand shouldn't know what my left one's up to, but I can't resist.
Which one do I shake? Right now.
Hello?
Oh, Miss Pringle.
Yes, Vicar. I trust that is the Vicar.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry I wasn't in when you rang.
I've been hoping to hear from you.
Oh, well, I've been waiting till our fund topped the 3-figure mark.
How much do you think you've got now?
Well, I should say £100 odd. A few shillings either way.
That's enough.
I beg your pardon?
Hello? Are you there?
Yes. I'm afraid I don't know what to say.
What's the matter?
It's so very short of our agreement.
That's all right.
You mean you'll complete the job for that sum?
It's completed. That's a surprise I had for you.
Oh, dear me.
You see,
It's completed, and she doesn't want any more money.
Well, say thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like me to bring it down, or would you rather see it first?
Oh, I'll come and collect it.
Okay. Tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes.
Take the check with you.
I'll bring the check with you. Me.
There's just one point. If it's not terribly inconvenient, I'd rather you paid me in cash.
Yeah, well, yes, I'm sure that's all right.
Nothing shady. It's just that I haven't a bank account.
Oh.
And it's a little easier for tax reasons.
I didn't hear that. I'll draw the money out first thing and come straight up.
Look forward to seeing you.
Yes. And Miss Pringle, I do thank you. Most sincere.
Oh, that's okay. Bye.
Goodbye. Well.
Stephen.
Oh, it's difficult to know what to say.
Yes, hadn't you better take me along as bodyguard?
That is a lot of money to carry about with you.
Oh, the good Lord has looked after us very well up to now. I'm sure he'll continue to do so.
Good morning. Oh, hello there, Father. Oh, I wonder now, would you be kind enough to tell me, have I must have turned into Farm Lane?
Oh, no, it's just there.
I'm down on a visit to my sister and brother-in-law, and I always miss the way. Proctor, the grocer.
Oh, I know them well. Now, are you staying long?
No, I'm going straight back, sir. You're looking at my suitcase. That's for the goodies. They never let me go without a great parcel of eggs and butter. They can say what they like about Bartry hens, but you can't beat real fresh eggs and butter.
I imagine the hens would agree with you.
They would that. Anyway, I mustn't keep you.
We'll talk again when you're down next.
That we will. Good day to you.
Good day to you.
Hello there.
Oh, it's you.
That's a friendly welcome.
I was expecting you last night.
Oh, I had a certain amount of difficulty in encountering your man.
You shouldn't have.
I've only been out 2 days. I wanted a bit of a party. Is Kitty around?
She doesn't even know you're out. I thought it was best not to tell her you were coming. You'd have had difficulty in getting away, and she'd have insisted in preparing a parcel of groceries for you herself.
I'm with you. I take it you've done that already.
A very generous one, including 24 packets of butter, especially packed.
And what?
Roughly £500 each.
That comes to
£12,000, so be careful.
And me, scunt, there's irony for you. I wouldn't say no to a small advance.
Well, I'll let you have a few quid. They'll look after you when you deliver this lot.
So they should. Blowing the town with all their damn stolen currency.
You don't have to do it, you know.
Pat! Oh, how are you, my darling?
A sadder and wiser man. Oh, it's grand to see you, Kitty. Really it is.
Oh, you should have told us you were coming down.
Oh, I've only been out 2 days.
What are you going to do now?
Oh, I'm back at the old job.
Oh, I wish you could get away from these bookie shops and all your gambling friends.
Kitty, if a man's a gambler, he's a gambler, no matter where he works.
It's the occasions of sin you ought to worry about.
Oh, there speaks Mama's daughter.
You'll stay for a few days.
I can't, love. I'm down strictly on business.
What kind of business?
Negotiating.
Who with?
Who for, you mean?
Oh, Pat, you're not up to your tricks again.
Indeed I am. You've heard of the big bank robbery.
You're pulling my leg.
Indeed I'm not. I'm up to my ears in fivers.
Oh, give him a cup of tea.
Well, you see, there was this man on the train. He invited me to play a game of poker, you see. And when I won, we got into a bit of an argument.
What about?
I made certain implications which I was prepared to ignore. And then he called me a damned orangeman. You don't expect me to take that, do you? Imagine what Dad would have done.
And Mar, too.
Exactly.
Oh, go and have tea.
You're a Sassenach. You won't understand. You live in your own isolated world of chicken and eggs and butter.
That's £5, 7 shillings and sixpence, making a total in the account of 6 and 6 is 1, and we take 1 for it, and 11, £102 and 11 shillings.
Oh, it's a little more than I thought.
You probably forgot the interest.
Oh, yes. Now, I'd like to give you a cheque for that sum and draw it out in cash.
You mean we can expect to see the new window in the near future?
I'm going to collect it this morning.
Oh, surprise. You never told us yesterday.
I didn't know until the young lady rang me later.
Oh, yes? Young lady?
The artist. She's very kindly not charging me the full amount.
When one thinks what a lot could be done with that money.
That's what the objectors said to our Lord in the house of Bethania.
I beg your pardon?
John, chapter 12, where Mary poured all that expensive ointment on him, and people complained how much better the money would have been spent on the poor. And you'll remember perhaps how he ticked them off. So I feel I have a suitable precedent. And you may recall, too, the name of the principal objector.
Who?
Judas Iscariot.
Yes. Well, you'd like the money in £5 notes, would you, Vicar?
Yes, sir.
The train arriving at platform 1 is for Chelmsford, Sheffield, Wynnum and Liverpool Street.
Would you mind giving me a hand with one of these?
Oh, certainly.
Oh, it's you, Father.
Oh.
It's a small world, isn't it?
Oh, here, let me help you with your suitcase.
No. If you could just open the door, I'll shut the door in.
Yes.
We'll leave the eggs on the floor. I'll put the case up in the rack.
Your relations have certainly been very generous.
Howdy. Oh, of course, I told you. I've enough butter in here to grease the engines of a liner. I thought I was going to miss the train with all this to carry. Thanks very much for your help.
Not at all. Well, at least we've the carriage to ourselves.
You don't mind me travelling up with you, Father?
On the contrary, I'm happy for the company. Do you come down often?
It's a bit quiet for me. I'm a man of the city. I come from Belfast, Father. That is what I call you.
Not many do. I rather like it.
It's the habit of a lifetime. I'm a Roman Catholic. Lapsed, of course.
Roman Catholic? From Ulster?
Why not?
One always assumes, quite absurdly, of course, that all Ulstermen are automatically...
Automatically what?
Well, Protestants or Orangemen.
Orangemen? Orangemen? You don't know what you're saying.
Quite absurd, of course.
I scarred men for less.
Oh, my.
Those bloody Orangemen, they've been the cause of all the trouble ever since Oliver Cromwell. And who was responsible for it in the first place? And who has supported them ever since? You lot, sir. Am I right? Am I right?
Yeah.
We're a minority, a considerable minority. We're treated in the most disgraceful way. There are things happening in the north of Ireland that are a disgrace to any civilized country. What do you do for us? Not a single thing.
Well, perhaps the visit of His Grace the Archbishop to the Pope?
What does the Grace know of what goes on the Shankill Road?
Quite. I'm extremely sorry. I naturally never intended to make a derogatory personal remark. Oh, forgive me, please. It just shows how dangerous it is to discuss the subject of religion.
I suppose it's impossible for you to get away from it.
Good point. Would you care for a sandwich?
No, thanks.
Oh. I have a flask of coffee.
I'm not thirsty.
Oh, dear. Oh, how clumsy of me.
Here, let me hold that. You mop yourself up.
Oh, thank you. All over the contents of my briefcase. Oh, how very stupid of me.
Good heavens, Father. Have you been robbing a poor box?
It does look like it, doesn't it?
I wouldn't fancy to carry all that money about.
No, I never have before. this is a particular responsibility, as it isn't really mine.
Other people's money is a great responsibility.
Look at them all. Soaked with coffee.
Don't worry, Father. A fiver's a fiver, no matter what the flavour. Would it be a rude question to ask who they belong to?
To my parishioners.
The Sunday collections.
Oh, dear me, no. A special fund to restore a stained glass window. I'm on my way to pick it up now.
And you've collected all that?
£100 and 2 shillings.
What a wonderful flock you have.
It was an answer to prayer.
Do you really believe in that kind of thing?
Oh, I do. And so should you, even if you are a lapsed Catholic.
We don't pray for material gain, Father.
Touché.
I'll have that cup of coffee now.
Oh. I've still a little coffee left.
No, thank you, Father. How much longer have we?
About half an hour.
Would you have any objection if I brought out the carts, Father? Just to while away the time.
Oh, of course not.
Well, let's pull that out. There we are. Spot the lady.
I beg your pardon?
Don't you know the game, Father? It's a speciality of the boys coming back from the races. See these 3 cards?
Yes.
One of them the Queen of Clubs. Now, I place them face downwards on the table. You have to pick out the lady, the Queen of Clubs.
I see. That shouldn't be difficult.
It's not. Will you have a go?
Oh, well,
I'll do it again. Watch carefully. There. Spot the lady.
The middle one.
Wrong, Father. Try again. There. Go on, just for fun.
That one.
You're right. That was very impressive, Father. You wouldn't be trying it on with me, would you?
I beg your pardon?
You haven't played this before?
Oh, good heavens, no.
I don't suppose by any chance you're a card player.
Oh, not really.
Is that so? I like a game of poker. There it's every man for himself. Have you ever played it?
Not since I left theological college. And then strictly for matchsticks.
Oh, that's good, very good. What about a game now for matchsticks?
Oh, good heavens, I couldn't.
You mean you've forgotten the rules?
Oh, no, but I mean, in my position.
Oh, there's nothing immoral in it, Father.
Oh, I know that, and you know it. But it would scandalize many people.
But there's no one here to scandalize. What the eye doesn't see.
Oh, nevertheless.
You're right, Father. Spot the lady.
What? Oh, I wasn't looking.
Right. There.
Oh, that one.
Well, I'll be... You're right. I'm losing my touch. I'll tell you what. I'll give you £1 if you can do it again.
Oh, well.
I'm no liability on yourself, just to satisfy pride.
Very well.
There.
That one.
You're right again. Oh, here. 1 greenback.
Oh, no, I couldn't possibly.
No, Father, no. No, I'm a man of honour. A debt's a debt.
Oh, but I didn't actually accept it.
I didn't say no.
Well, it's extremely generous of you. I shall put it in the collecting box next Sunday.
That's the idea, Father. How about doubling it?
Oh, now. Get thee behind me.
Oh, it wouldn't be the first time I've been compared to old Nick. Well, at least give me the chance to get it back.
Oh, well, yes.
There.
Oh, that one.
You've done it again.
Oh, dear. Oh, I didn't mean to.
Oh, that's why you did it. When a man's all tensed up and worried, he never succeeds to gamble, you understand?
Oh, I'm not a gambler.
Are you sure? I could have sworn you had that look in your eyes. Gambling. It's a drug. You see a lot of it in my business.
Which is?
I'm a tough accountant.
Nothing to do with horticulture.
That's very good, Father. Horticulture, yeah. Oh, I nearly forgot. Here's your £2.
Oh, no, really, please.
Father, I insist, even if I am nearly skint. But you could give me the chance to recuperate my losses.
Very well.
Oh, don't let me force you.
You want me to nominate this lady again?
Oh, let's give her a break and have a round of poker.
I'm a little rusty.
Look, I'll tell you what I'll do with you. I'll deal us both 5 cards each. If you've got the better hand, you won. If not, I won. No bluffing. Just a straight luck of the hands.
Yes.
We'll have a trial run first. Here, your deal.
Oh, very well. Oh.
What is it?
Oh, do you mind if we just pass through this station?
Ah, of course not, Father. Where are we?
I'm not sure, but there's just the one more stop before we get in.
No. Well, no. Well, I think we're clear. Just one little card different, and I've had a flush.
Oh, that's when all the cards are of the same suit, isn't it?
Ah, I see you haven't forgotten your theological training, Father. What about you?
Oh, just a pair of 2s.
You won that one. Now for 2 quid. Ideal. 2 for you, 2 for me. 1, 2, 3. Ah! I think I got you. 3 kings.
Nothing.
What do you mean, nothing? You were straight. You know a sequence. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That beats my 3. Making another 2 quid I owe you.
Oh, I am sorry.
Here. You'll be able to buy yourself another one if this goes on.
Oh, no, this is very wrong.
Now, what's wrong about it? You're not walking any fast ones. And even if you were, you wouldn't keep the money for yourself. And that would make it all right.
Indeed, it would not.
Why wouldn't it?
However altruistic my intention, if my action involved breaking one of God's commandments, it would be wrong.
Oh, I'm sure the Jesuits could go around that one.
They produce some very interesting theology.
Oh, never mind that, Father. Let's get on with the poker. A double or quits.
I beg your pardon?
If you win again, that'll be 8. If I win, we're back to where we started. Are you with me?
But that isn't fair on you.
It's my only chance.
But you can afford it.
You want to see my money? Is that it? Never mind, Father. I can cover anything you can put down.
I didn't mean that.
No, you're right. Just a minute. I have a small sum tucked up the way up here. Here we are.
Oh.
There. £10. Are you satisfied?
I never meant to imply that
you were justified. 2 for you. For me. 1, 2, 3. What have you got?
A pair of queens.
Nothing. Another 8 quid I owe you.
No, I really don't want to take
You've got to take it.
Even if I tell you, it really distresses me.
We're gamblers, Father.
No, please don't say that.
Tell you what. I owe you 8, right? Now put your £2 change in my £10, and we'll play for that.
But I've still got another £2 of your money.
I'll put that on too.
Oh, and if you lose that...
I can pay you. Look.
Good heavens.
Besides, my luck is bound to change.
Very well. And if you win, no more.
You're a gentleman, Father. I think I got you. 3 4s. Another flush.
I told you not to...
I don't know what you're looking so miserable for. That's another 14 I owe you. 5, 10, 15. I take a quid. There. 28 quid.
I really don't know what to do.
Stop your moaning.
No, please, won't
Now,
you
look,
take
if you're
it-
going to offer me your money back, I'm warning you. Of course, if we had another deal.
I did say that I wouldn't play anymore.
You only said no more if I won, didn't you?
Yes.
Well, it's up to you. I can't say I wouldn't appreciate it. You see, less money.
Yes?
Nothing. I'll have to explain it to the wife somehow.
It isn't that I don't want to.
You mean that?
I should never feel at ease if I thought that through me you were in trouble.
Well, I am, so what are we waiting for? Let's make it around 30. There. I take 3. Yeah, put down another 5. What do you say?
I'm a little confused.
And if I lose again, I stop.
You give me your word of honor.
That I pay?
No, that you stop.
Yes. That suits you.
Mm-hmm.
Well?
A pair of 2s.
A pair of 3s? Oh, I never thought I'd win with a hand like that. Oh, thank you, Father. You know, I could have sworn you had me beat there. Let's have your cards. Yeah, yeah. Oh, what's wrong?
Nothing.
I thought you'd been pleased.
I am. But
But what?
what was your hand?
A pair of threes. I told you.
Yes, of course you did.
Is there something on your mind?
No.
I think there is.
I assure you, I'm very pleased.
You don't look it. What's worrying you?
Nothing. It's just that you usually...
Usually what?
You usually show your hand, and you didn't.
Are you suggesting that I'm cheating you?
No. No, of course not.
Keep your damn money. The first winning hand I have.
I'm sorry. Please forget it.
No, thank you. And it's not even as if you've lost anything. Take it. Take it.
No. No, I insist. Oh, please, we're coming to a station.
Oh, well, if you insist. Mind you, I've made nothing.
Please pick it up.
Come to think of it, I could just as easily accuse you of cheating.
Oh, I didn't. Now, would you mind putting the money away?
Why? It'd make nice reading in the paper. Poker playing parson accused of cheating.
Oh.
That's my money, sir. Perhaps if we had another game.
All right. All right. Provided no one gets in.
I'll make sure they don't. This is the last stop, isn't it?
Oh, dear.
What are you up to?
I'm having a cup of coffee.
Ah, we're lucky. There's practically no one here.
Oh!
Oh, for crying out, mind the cards. Where are they?
I put them in my briefcase.
Give them to me. Well, there's my money. 30 pounds of it.
Could I finish my coffee first?
Certainly. To prove that I'm not a cheat, you can deal the cards. Face upwards. I'll double the stake.
I never said you cheated.
The last man who did ended in hospital.
Sure, you don't mean to threaten me.
Out of respect for your cloth, father.
If you like.
Well, let me tell you this. I've no respect for it. You may consider yourself a priest of God, but to me, you're just an English heretic.
That is the remark of an ignorant Irishman.
What's that? Don't push me, sir. Don't push me. I've not much control of my temper.
Look, you've got your money back. Why do you want to go on?
Because I'm a gambler.
And if I refuse?
I wouldn't go back on your word if I were you. There's my money.
I shouldn't be playing with money that's not my own.
You might win.
You're putting me in an impossible position. I'd no idea that you were...
A rogue? Well, I am. Ask any of my friends. But I'm not a cheat. And that's where you made your big mistake.
I repeat again, I never said you were. And if I gave a wrong impression, I can only ask you to accept my apology.
I do. Your deal. And I wouldn't try pulling a communication card. Unless you want a broken jaw. I mean it.
You'd be had up for assault.
I know that. And I'd go to prison. That'd make an even better story. I've just come from there. For the same reason.
You haven't a grudge, have you?
I wouldn't bother with the psychology, sir. Or perhaps you'd like to hear my confession. Father, forgive me for I have sinned. But you wouldn't know about that.
Don't.
Then stop the gob and let's play. We'll be in Liverpool Street in a few minutes.
You could deal.
All right. Hey, where's your money? On second thoughts, I respect your integrity. Even if you don't respect mine.
You're never going to get over that, are you?
No. Three of clubs, 5 of hearts. For me, 10 of clubs, 4 of clubs. For you, 5 of spades. Ha! 3 fives. You see, I'm not a cheat. For me, 9 of clubs, Jack of clubs. Wait for it. Another club and I have a flush to beat you 3. Queen of clubs! I've done it! The lady herself! Right! Right!
Yes. I hope you realize what you're doing. 30 pounds. There.
Look, I nearly lost that. If I had, I wouldn't have grumbled.
You've not lost somebody else's money.
Oh, I'd never do a thing like that. Well, you'll just have to pay them back, won't you?
But the window...
Well, would you like to want it back?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Well, make up your mind.
All right.
Well. What do we play for?
What's on the table, and I'll cover your money.
Was that so? Real sportsman, aren't you?
£60.
Right. Your deal.
No, I'd rather play the other game.
Stop the lady! You're out of your mind. Look, I'm a bit of an expert on that. You were just lucky before.
Nevertheless...
Well, it's your own funeral. Where's the Queen of Clubs?
There, on the top.
Ah, yes, so she is. The last no flush. Well, here goes. Go on, spotter.
That one.
You're right.
Thank you. My money.
Just a moment. We've plenty of time for another.
I don't want another. I just want my money back.
So do I.
All right.
Double the stake. Come on, have a go.
I haven't that amount of money.
Around 100 then. You got that? Tell you what, to give you a chance, make it the best out of 3.
All right. And here's my money.
And here's mine. You seem very confident.
I am.
Look, why not make it poker? You'll have a better chance.
No, thank you.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you. Well, here we go. There.
That one.
You're lucky, aren't you?
You'd better hurry up. We're nearly at the station.
So we are. Now, wait for it.
The middle card.
What?
I'm right, aren't I?
You seem very sure of yourself.
There.
All right. You needn't be so damn greedy about it. You've been having me on. You knew all about this game. You must have. Not one man in 1,000 could have followed the cards therein. Admit it. Admit it.
I admit nothing. I only know that I called right.
Called right nothing. We'll have another one.
We can't. We're coming into the station.
We'll have another. And if you don't agree, I'll yell. Let the whole station know I've been playing poker with a parson who cheats.
It's not I who am the cheat, and I only want my money back.
Keep your hands off that money. You mean not, you fool. You can have your damn money back when I've sorted them out, but I must have them. No. You're not leaving this carriage with them. Get them to me. Get them to me.
Help, Porter!
Shut up! This money's not mine, don't you understand?
Please stop this and let go of me.
I'm trying to tell you that this money's stolen.
I don't believe you. Let me go.
Yeah, what's going on here? Yeah, turn it off first, Sam.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, don't you talk to me like that.
This man is assaulting me.
He's shitting me out of my money.
What's that?
Think you want me? All right. We'll just have a little nada and then we'll see. I want to explain something to you. I don't want explanation.
Let the gentleman be, sir.
Let me out. Stop him.
Yeah.
Keep your eye on my luggage. Hey, come back, sir. Come back, sir. Come back, miss. Come back.
Excuse me, sir.
Now get out of my way. Can't you see I'm in a hurry?
I'm sorry, sir. Police. Are you Mr. Patrick Mulhoney of 6 Castle Buildings, W14?
What about him?
We'd like a word with you, please.
Look, I have to catch my friend. He's a clergyman.
I'm sorry, sir. If you'd be good enough to come with us to the station, we can talk it
What's all
over.
this about? Are you arresting me?
We have reason to believe you could help us with some inquiries we're making.
I've only been out of the neck a couple of days.
We know that, sir. I suggest it would be to your own interest.
I don't suppose I've any choice. All right.
What about your possessions, sir?
Possessions? I don't have any.
You don't mind if we check on that, sir?
But, officer, this is a waste of time.
Now, this was your carriage, wasn't it, sir?
Yeah, I found a couple of fivers on the floor.
Am I supposed to look after them too? Fivers? I haven't seen one in years.
Then what are all these other bleeders doing in this package? Been robbing the bank, governor?
I can explain all this, Inspector.
Of course, sir. At the station. We'll see to the rest of your luggage. All of it.
Well, all of it's not there.
What do you mean?
I mean, some of it's disappeared. And if you want to get it back, you better find that reverend gentleman. He's got 100 of his stolen notes. Wouldn't it be fair to try and find him? Just to let him know, like.
And where do you suggest we do that?
After what he's been through, I should think he's need a drop of the hard stuff. You might have a look in the buffet.
All right. Come along, then.
Could I please have a glass of whiskey?
Now a large one, dear.
Thank you.
Not feeling too well, dear.
No, a parochial trouble, sinner.
Oh, I have the same in my stomach. Here you are, dear. 5 shillings and 6pence, please.
Thank you.
There he is. There's your man. Forward!
Oh, dear.
Forward! Don't run away. I'm well under control. These 2 good-looking fellas are from the police.
Good heavens.
Good morning, Padre.
Father. He prefers father. He's one of these high-class heretics. Not that you ignorant lad would understand that.
Ah? Detective Inspector O'Sullivan, sir. This gentleman tells me you're in possession of a sum of money which you gained from him on the journey up from Colchester.
If he has any accusations to make, I should be only too happy to come to the police station and answer them there. But not here, please.
I'm not making any accusations yet. Listen, here. You know I told you that money was bent.
Bent?
Stolen, you. I'm telling you. That money you won from me wasn't mine.
Whose was it?
I don't know whose it was.
We have reason to believe, sir, that the money was part of a larger sum stolen in a recent bank robbery.
Oh. You see, I was telling you the truth.
You mean that some of this money is not rightfully mine?
I'm afraid not, sir. If you'll come along with me, we'll be able to sort it out.
Look, he's on his way to pay for a holy wonder.
We'll drive you there, sir, as soon as we've finished. It shouldn't take long. Take that man to the station, Sergeant. We'll pick up a taxi, sir.
And don't forget the reward. There's a reward for anyone assisting in the recovery of the money. And without your assistance, they'd never have recovered this lot. 12,000 quid. And if they want any corroboration, I'm prepared to commit myself an oath. As a gentleman. Although I still don't believe you won the money by fair and square.
Take him along, then.
And I hope one day you'll give me the chance to get it back again.
Good day to you.
And the same to you, Father.
To say the least.
Well, what happened when you got to the station?
It all took much longer than we thought. I rang Hester Pringle several times. Eventually, she very kindly said she'd bring the thing down tomorrow herself.
And what about this reward?
Oh, apparently there's something in it. The inspector, who couldn't have been more decent about the whole thing, said he'd ring me this evening. Stella, I shall never forgive myself for being involved in such a mishap.
Oh, why? I mean, you hadn't stolen the money. Oh, look, in a few months we'll be laughing about it.
I don't think so.
Well, at least it was very clever of you to get the better of a crook.
I don't think he was being crooked with me.
You're not being generous, are you, dear?
No, I think that even when he turned nasty and forced me to play, he still intended to get his money back by superior skill.
And you were more skillful than he was.
Hardly.
Well, you picked the right spotted lady, or whatever you call her.
Yes. But that wasn't due to skill.
Oh, well, intuition or luck.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't luck, either. Oh, if it hadn't been for his menacing attitude, I probably shouldn't have done what I did. I was very scared, Stella.
Oh, darling.
No, I've always been rather a physical coward.
Oh, nonsense. Well, go on.
And I only wanted to get back my parishioners' money. I didn't intend to profit myself.
Oh, never mind the extenuating circumstances.
I cheated.
I know, but how?
I happened to know that a certain card was marked.
You mean the spotted lady?
Yes. And I took advantage of my knowledge.
You mean he marked it?
No. I had. Accidentally.
What with?
coffee.
Coffee?
Oh, no.
Oh, darling.
Stella, please.
Coffee. Oh, no.
Stella.
I'm sorry. Oh, coffee. I don't, honestly don't. When?
Well, it must have been at the last stop, just before we played the final hand of poker. The Queen of Clubs happened to be the last card dealt, and,
oh, dear.
well, I noticed the slightest stain on the bottom left-hand corner.
And?
I'm afraid I succumbed to temptation. I quite deliberately suggested changing to the other game because I knew I couldn't lose.
Yeah. Oh, no, darling, you're being too harsh on yourself.
I was guilty of a double deceit. I've no excuse.
The Lord knows how you'll punish yourself for it.
I can only hope he forgives me.
And it'd be wrong if you didn't. Besides, there is a precedent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I seem to remember the second thief on the cross. The one who didn't defy him.
How strange you should say that. Oh, well, that could be the inspector. Hello? Oh, good evening, Inspector. Yes. I see. Well, thank you for the trouble you've taken. I feel this is false pretenses. I see. Well, thank you again, Inspector. Yes. Good evening. Well, that's it.
The reward?
Yes. Well, they're undoubtedly stretching a point, but it seems I shall be receiving a sum of around £300.
What?
If I accept it.
Oh, well, I think it would be discourteous if you refused it.
I could at least pay Miss Pringle her full fee.
Yes, quite.
Not only that, I was thinking, on the way back in the train, there's something else I'd like to do.
Yes?
When I commissioned the crucifixion, I always visualized it as a centerpiece of a triptych in glass, so to speak, behind the main altar. I never imagined that such an idea could ever be realized. But with this unexpected windfall, I'm tempted to go ahead with it now.
What is it?
As I said, the crucified Christ on the center panel, and on either side,
Mary and Joseph? Two saints?
I rather thought the two robbers.
And be sure to tune in next Wednesday night at 8, and every Wednesday night for the week's finest radio entertainment, brought to you for your listening pleasure by your hosts, the Brewers of Castle Lager. So until next week then, a very good night to you all.
This is Peter Tobin introducing Lux Radio Theatre. Tonight and every Monday night at this time, Lux Radio Theatre presents for your entertainment the finest in radio drama. This week we bring you The Public Prosecutor by Fritz Hochwalder. The Public Prosecutor has been adapted and produced for Lux Radio Theatre by Michael McCabe.
the office of the public prosecutor of the French Republic. 10 o'clock in the morning of August the 20th, 1794.
Gräberwald. Greeting and brotherhood, Citizen Fouquier.
Death warrants?
I'm sorting them. Sanson is waiting for the list. Thérèse Tallien is now in complete control of the government. Her husband is as much a puppet in her hands as he was before their marriage.
The beautiful Thérèse, Madonna of the August Rebellion. I wonder if she's sufficiently grateful to Tallien for having saved her life. Can't be every woman who has a government overthrown on her account.
Citizen Fouquier, the warrants are drawn. If you will complete the details, I will take them down to Sanson.
I drew up the order of execution before the trial. I'll sign the warrants. The Assembly wanted the matter dealt with quickly and efficiently. Some of the defendants were even friends of mine. Pity. The verdict has been given. They must disappear. What is done is done.
Here we only obey our orders. We simply follow whoever is in power.
Keep that in mind, Gräberwald. I should hate to lose you. Did I startle you?
For pity's sake, you cannot... Has any charge been brought against me?
I was only joking. Imbecile, no one's panting for your head. You've not been conspiring, have you?
No.
Then why should you tremble? He who trembles is already lost. Have you ever seen me tremble?
Never.
Who has taken care of everyone, from the king to Robespierre?
You.
Who brought them all into the arms of Madame Guillotine?
You, Citizen Fouquier. Always you.
I will look after you. How could I manage without my secretary?
How can I ever thank you?
Get on with the list. At this rate, Sanson's cart will fall into ruins and the guillotine rust away before you've finished.
One moment. One moment only.
Greetings. Citizen Tallien, what an honor. Were you present at the trials this morning?
No, but I have been informed that all 72 of the defendants have been condemned. Entirely due to the eloquence of your prosecution. In the name of the government, thank you.
That means the case against the followers of Robespierre is closed,
As a matter of fact, there might be one particular assignment.
Gräberwald, take the documents, finish your work outside.
Citizen.
Tell Sanson not to waste more time.
Certainly, citizen.
Now, citizen, I will be frank with you. The law of the terror must fall. The Republic cannot grow on blood and hate alone. Suspicion must be swept away. What are your reactions to this scheme?
Reactions? I obey my orders. I don't question whether they be good or bad.
The law of the terror will be attacked in the Assembly tomorrow. I feel almost sure it will be repealed before a cheering audience. Before then, I have one last task for you. Neither the Assembly nor the government know of this latest trial.
Who's bringing the charge against the prisoner?
My wife.
Madame Tallien.
Yes. Will you help her? And earn my undying gratitude.
Who does your wife wish to see brought to trial?
I don't know. She has not confided in me. But I think that all true revolutionaries would approve me when I say that we must serve our Madonna of the August Rebellion blindly. You agree?
I agree. Give me the evidence.
Thérèse wished to bring it to you herself. She will be here in half an hour. She will come by carriage and veiled. No one will see. you will be sure we remain undisturbed.
Of course.
You are placing the most influential woman in France forever in your debt. You're also placing me under a heavy obligation.
Citizen Fouquier.
What's the meaning of this? The executions can't be over.
Citizen Sanson wishes to have a word with you.
My thanks once again, citizen.
Bring Sanson here, Gerboval.
Citizen.
Citizen Fouquier Tinville, my patience is exhausted. It has gone too far.
My dear Maestro, this is very bad.
Those days, before the fall of Robespierre, my assistants and I worked hard. We barely had time to change our clothes. We sacrificed our health, our homes,
The Republic.
The Republic, always the Republic. To the devil with the Republic. It gives me nothing but trouble and impossible difficulty.
Sanson!
It's the truth. I have my pride. I had members of the highest royal circles among my clients. Working conditions were better in the old days than they are in this. Progressive age. 72 you asked me to deal with. And you give me 2 small tumbrels for the job. It makes my blood boil.
Good. You've had your say, and I hope you feel better. I can appreciate your feelings, of course. Now, please get on with the job and let's have no more of this kind of talk.
I can't go on.
I suggest you make 2 journeys with each cut.
What? 72 in 2 journeys? 18 in each cart? You must be joking, citizen.
No, how stupid of me. 3 journeys, then.
That's a little better. All the same, we'll be lucky if we get through by dusk.
Well, then, what are you waiting for, man? Get a move on. Oh, Montané, where have you sprung from?
Greetings, citizen.
My dear old friend, I'm very glad to see you here. I suppose you didn't know how close you came to losing this silly wooden head of yours, Montané.
As a matter of fact,
What? Oh, never mind. I was ordered to arrest you. Your warrant still hasn't been destroyed. But do not worry. In a day or 2, that will be done. You're safe. In future, my friend, you must remember to avoid criticizing the Tribunal of Public Safety in public.
I couldn't help myself.
You're incorrigible. Remember how I begged and pleaded with you to keep quiet, not to concern yourself with that madwoman, Charlotte...
Could I?
You couldn't save her head, and you nearly lost your own as well. The evening you resigned, the list of people to be dealt with the next day was on my desk. Your name came first, with the letter G beside it. Do you know what that meant?
The guillotine.
Every man whose name was on that list was arrested, tried, convicted, and disposed of within 24 hours. You have me to thank. You, the man who defended Charlotte Corday.
Thank you, citizen.
Would you like to read the list of people who denounced you?
People denounced me?
Every move you made was spied on, every bed you slept in. You know why? Fear, my friend, plain, unvarnished fear. But a prosecutor can be a human being, you know. Now, how do you live? Now,
I write letters.
Letters?
For people in the street. Love letters for shop girls, begging letters for discharged soldiers, petitions.
Not very edifying for a former member of the Committee of Public Safety. No, you must think of something better than that. I am not a rich man, of course, but I have something saved. I can let you have a few hundred livres.
No, I didn't come here for help. I came here to repay a debt. This time, you're in danger.
I? In danger?
There's a rumor that you're to be brought to trial almost immediately.
Brought to trial, eh? Very interesting.
Wherever one goes, it's the only topic of conversation.
Oh, of course, everybody hates me. How do they propose to use the law against me, huh? I don't give up easily.
All the same, they will get you in the end.
Then tell me, who will be the counsel for the prosecution? The public prosecutor before the Revolutionary Tribunal? Tell me that.
I've no idea.
All I know is they will get you as they got all the others.
They? Who is this ominous they? It was I who got all the others, no one else. I have been the instrument of justice. Could you execute an axe? Who, beside myself, ever understood the law? Who knows all its tricks, instructs the executioner, tells the witnesses, the informers what to say or do, huh?
You do, Fouquier. I know that very well.
If my power could have been broken by using the law against me, would I have stayed in power? They know the weapon of fear would collapse if it was taken away from me.
You are awe-inspiring, Fouquier.
Aye, awe-inspiring. Not at all. Give me a good law and reasonable orders. You'll find me a conscientious officer who will not deviate a hair's breadth from its course. Give me bloodthirsty orders, and I become an evil demon.
Citizen Fouquier, the first relay of prisoners is ready to leave. Citizen Sanson would appreciate your presence.
Coming. Au revoir, Montanet. Remember, always glad to see you.
In trying to destroy this man, we might destroy ourselves.
Then we must make sure he dies. As long as he lives, we cannot destroy the terror that stalks the streets of Paris. We are accused of using the same men against our enemies who were used against us. People are saying bloodshed is as vital to us as it was to our predecessors. Robespierre's hired assassins come to us for orders, just as I am informed the secret police is now at my disposal. Eager hands outstretched towards us, sticky with the blood of our own families. Wherever we go, those who yesterday were screaming for our heads are smiling and bowing and begging us for our friendship. All these people are personified in this one man, Fouquier-Tinville. We shall be ridding the earth of a human monster.
I'm astounded. How could I prepare a charge against someone unknown to me?
Let me remind you of a man called Legris.
Ah, yes. Legris was intending to withhold supplies, starve the people, and dissolve the National Assembly. I was given neither name nor evidence in this case, no. Under the law of suspects, I am allowed to issue a blank warrant, provided it is countersigned by a judge or a member of the Committee of Public Safety. The high persons who wanted Legris removed filled in the name. The wheels of the administrative machine were set in motion. You see, Legris had to be prevented from defending himself. One word from him and half the government would have been incriminated. That had to be stopped. And that is why my help was called for in that case. I had to obey.
You had no other choice, citizen, of course.
If I'd refused, I should not be here today.
Your own head was at stake, of course. Citizen, you would not, of course, refuse me something that you have already done.
And what is it that you want, madame?
A man must be destroyed. A man you alone have the power to condemn. I hate this man more than any other man in the whole world. Destroy him. I demand it.
His name?
I cannot tell you.
We're alone. I must have his name.
This man ranks very high in government. If his name is known, then he becomes invulnerable. I must keep it a secret. Even Citizen Tallien does not know the name.
That is true, yes.
It distresses me to have to tell you, madame, that I cannot help you. I know of no man who would be willing to sign a blank warrant. Name one member of the committee who would, and I am at your disposal. Lacaire, Laporte, Fourcault, all these men would have done anything for me. Now they're dying one by one on the Place de la Révolution as accomplices of Robespierre.
You see, it's impossible. It can't be done.
Impossible? Nothing is impossible. Maybe...
Maybe what?
I'll have to think this over quietly. When do you want this unknown gentleman disposed of?
Today.
Let me turn it over in my mind.
When will you let me know?
Late this afternoon. I can't promise anything yet. Meanwhile, I need authorization to reinstate a judge who was dismissed.
I'll give you that authorization.
Please write it out immediately, citizen. When shall we arrest this man?
He will come here of his own free will.
Here? Of his own free will?
I will see to that. He will walk into our trap.
May I ask why you want this man to die?
We have an old score to settle. But he doesn't know about that either.
Here is your order, citizen.
Jean-Joseph Tallien. I hope I don't disappoint you, madame.
Laboureux's gone. I saw him hurrying off just now.
Did he say anything?
Only that Thérèse Tallien is intriguing against some high-ranking official. He says he hasn't found out yet who it can be.
Go and find him for me. Tell him to come here at once. Wait. What do you think? Would it be wise to oblige Thérèse Tallien?
Of course. She is tomorrow's government.
She's asked me to do something that's almost impossible. A secret trial, like the case of Legris.
You have a genius, citizen, for placing the most influential people in your debt.
This unknown enemy of hers, I must find out. Where do you think we should begin looking?
The files?
Of course. He will be in the files. We have until this afternoon to find him. We'll go through these files until we track the monster down.
Oh, what a genius you are, citizen.
Notify the guards. Tonight a double cordon round the conciergerie.
Yes, citizen.
Select two very stupid but reliable men from among the guards. They will have to guard the prisoner. Should he try to call for help, they will have to silence him immediately. There's nothing to snigger at. Write out 2 summonses, calling the following to my office this afternoon. The householder Robert Héron, and the former clerk of the tribunal, your predecessor, Fabricius.
Héron? Fabricius.
And this is the address of the former Judge Montané. Ask him to come and see me here this afternoon. Tell him I have good news for him. Now, hurry.
It's impossible to find Laboureux. I've searched everywhere.
Paris seems to be peopled by suspects. 2/3 of Tallien's government are suspect. The entire movement is suspicious. Not a single clue that might lead us to the man that fills Thérèse Tallien with such burning hatred. His name must be in those files. Just a minute. Who was that?
This one?
Yes.
Oh, Tallien's.
Jean-Joseph Tallien, convicted of embezzlement while serving as a clerk. Harmless. Convicted of robbery during the September massacres. Selling clothes and jewelry belonging to the victims. Those are old stories. Commissioner to the Bordeaux National Assembly, rabid Jacobin, bloodthirsty, meets Theresia Cabarrus. Very well. You can put those folders back on my desk, except Tallien.
You can't suspect Tallien.
He's the one we're looking for. We've no time to lose.
But how do... I mean...
Instinct, my friend. Instinct and persistence. Put those files back. Yes, instinct, my friend. You've a lot to learn. Come here. Look. What's this?
Warrant for the arrest of Citizeness Theresia Cabarrus. Well, that's the warrant Robespierre issued against her.
Can't you see whose signature is on the bottom?
It's the signature of Tallien.
And he's the man we're looking for.
But why should he issue a warrant against the woman he loves? Oh, no, citizen. It doesn't sound very probable to me.
On the contrary, it's extremely logical. Tallien was denounced to the Committee of Public Safety. He's accused of leniency inspired by Theresia Cabarrus and has to defend himself before Robespierre. Tallien knows his life is at stake. He tries desperately to vindicate himself. He signs the warrant, calling for the arrest of his mistress, thinking he might save his own head that way. Then he realizes his betrayal won't help. Robespierre has added his name to the elimination list. So he forms an alliance of the left with the right wing against Robespierre, overthrows the government, sets free his imprisoned mistress, marries her, and has himself acclaimed as the champion of liberty. And there you have it. Now, Madame Tallien is trying to dispose of her fine husband while the terror is still in operation. Tonight is her last chance. Tomorrow, Tallien ends up in the lime pits. Now I know the merchandise I'm asked to supply. I can name my own price. Put those files away.
I believe you, citizen. I admire your great talent for handling these affairs.
Has Fabricius come?
Fabricius and Héron are waiting outside. Montané will come this afternoon.
Send in Fabricius.
Very well, citizen.
My dear Fabricius, brotherly greetings.
Why be so formal, now that we're permitted to say good day again? Equality, fraternity, public welfare, justice. It makes me sick every time I hear the phrase. Good day, Fouquier Tinville. Why have you sent for me with all this urgency?
Sit down. It's to do with the evidence you gave at the time of Danton's trial. You said you'd be at my side if ever I needed you. Right?
Of course.
The time has come for me to take you at your word.
I've been expecting it for days. And accordingly, I've come prepared.
Huh?
A list of every good deed you've ever done. The people you've helped escape from the guillotine with signed statements from them. And promises to swear in your defense at the tribunal. Don't despair, my friend. You will be saved. One thing, though. Do not wait. Give yourself up now. I don't understand.
I throw myself on the mercy of the court. Let me show you how I do that. Now, do you still swear to help me?
Yes, but if there's no danger, I don't see...
There is to be a secret trial here tonight, and you are to appear as witness for the prosecution.
Who must I testify against?
You won't be told the name in case you should fail me again. And this time it will mean the guillotine, should you fail. This is what you'll say. Learn it by heart. Repeat it in the court. That's all.
The accusations are absurd. Who could ever overthrow the present government? Who could dissolve the National Assembly? No, I shall not repeat a word of this in court. I'll never get myself involved in this sort of thing again.
It might be better if you thought this over, Fabricius.
No. This time I cannot, will not help you.
Very well. Go.
You can't frighten me into doing this. You can't blackmail me. I'm going.
Lovely weather for the time of year, don't you think?
I came here to save you, and you will need saving, Fouquier. They will come for you, too.
Goodbye, Fabricius.
I'm not afraid.
Grès-Beauval, send the householder Robert Héron in immediately. We shall see what a little fear does to Héron. We shall see if that fine gentleman will swear to what I demand.
There's no doubt. Héron will be there.
He'll be there. The sight of his own file in my hands persuaded him to swear anything against any man, unnamed or not. He'll be at the tribunal, never fear. We're well prepared, Grès-Beauval. Sanson has agreed. This one execution will be his last, he says. There's a little farm near Troyes. He wants to live there quietly with his family when this is over.
The trial will definitely take place tonight.
Before midnight.
Oh, there is work to be done. I shall see you soon, citizen. I am on hand if you require my services.
Talien. If only you realized.
Madame Talien and Citizen Montané are waiting.
Ask Madame Talien to come in first. When I ring, send in Montané.
It's a pity about Fabricius, isn't it?
Is it? He's sweating like a stuck pig in some corner of Paris at this moment. He'll be back. Mark my words. Now show in Madame Talien. And Grès-Beauval.
Yes, citizen.
Mind your own business and confine yourself to doing what you're told.
I await your decision, Citizen Fouquier.
You've definitely made up your mind. You intend to settle this old score once and for all?
Why should you doubt it?
I feel I should warn you of the risks you run. The moment your enemy falls, you must be prepared to take his place. So I'm not worried for myself. I know how to cover my tracks. But this man...
He must die.
How easily the words fall from your beautiful lips. But when the time comes, when the man is standing there, and the net is beginning to close, will you not be overwhelmed with pity at the last moment?
No.
I've seen cases that froze the blood in our veins at a trial. Might your feelings not get the better of you when you see your victim with the perspiration of death on his forehead?
I shall spit on his grave.
Well, it's not my business to defend your enemy. All is prepared for the destruction of this man. Only one cog is missing. Before I slip this cog into place, I must take my precautions. The time has come for us to talk about the value and price of my services.
What is it you want?
Security. I'm tired of convicting people automatically under a law that was dictated by fear. I want to be honorably discharged and elected into the Constitutional Assembly. That is all I ask for my services.
I see. If you become a member of the Assembly, you will be beyond the reach of the law.
Exactly. Two things I demand. To be given adequate protection, and for the repeal of the law of terror to be demanded in the Assembly tomorrow.
I agree to both your requests. You will get your reward, and the reign of terror will come to an end.
I knew we'd come to an agreement. By this trial, we are chained together. From today, you have an accomplice, and an accomplice who has some skill in establishing his claims.
You are a man of great talent, citizen.
Ah, come in, Montagné. We're expecting you. Madame Taillin, may I present Judge Montagné? He presided at the regrettable trial of the woman Corday.
Theresia Cabarrus. I wish I could tell you how much that name meant to us when we were suffering under the dictatorship. The name rang like the bells of freedom as the dawn of liberty came in sight.
First of all, you are free. The case against you is dismissed. Take this file. Use it to paper your walls.
I am free. Freedom for a man who had someone to intervene for him. When will my freedom be for everyone?
Whenever you please. It depends on you.
You're joking.
Madame Taillin has decided to wipe out all terror with one stroke. I shall leave the service of the Republic with all honor and be elected into a peaceful office. Before that, however, I must assist at a trial that will change the present form of the tribunal. For the last time, I shall use the law of terror against an enemy of freedom.
Who is this enemy?
His name must be kept secret. I need the signature of a judge. The judge who signs the warrant will have to preside at the trial. You are the only man I can trust, the only man I can ask to do this service. You, who long for the restoration of freedom, have it in your power to bring it about.
And in speaking that word, you asked me to smear my hands with blood.
Are you so anxious to keep them clean that you will tolerate continual bloodshed instead? Give me service for service, Montagné. Sign this warrant.
And the name?
To be filled in later.
By whom?
Madame Taillin.
When?
As soon as the defendant is here and cannot escape.
So you want me to sign a blank warrant?
Blank.
And blind?
Blind.
I cannot.
As you like.
Let my name be stained forever.
Your enemy is lost. His ears should be burning by now.
He doesn't suspect.
You sure?
Positive.
Then his eyes will start from his head when he is confronted by his fate. If you've seen it once, you'll never forget it. Poor Legris couldn't believe it, even when he was on his way to the guillotine.
Supposing this man tries to talk.
Don't worry, he won't make a sound. That's the beauty of the law of terror. The accused is forbidden to speak in his own defense. Before he realizes what is happening, they will drag him down to the cells. He will scream down there. He will... Aren't you well?
Can I get some water?
Wait. We must not weaken. The wheels have begun to turn. We cannot stop them now. Here.
Thank you.
You want this man dead. He is dead already.
It was a passing weakness. No more.
Who's that?
Me, citizen.
What do you mean, me? Get out! Sneaking in here like that. Out!
Give me one more chance. I want to live. I will swear to anything. I want to live.
So, you want to live? Ha! You're as white as a sheet. What's the matter with you?
I'm afraid. I soon noticed after I left here, I soon noticed that you hadn't followed. A man on your list is lost forever. But I've come back in time. I will do anything. Please free me from this constant fear. I can't stand it.
You destroyed my faith in you. I can't trust you.
Just this once. I swear, I will never disappoint you again.
Very well. Wait outside. Grébeauval will bring you the evidence you are to repeat. If you slip up this time, then may heaven help you.
I'll say whatever I...
Now get out!
A miracle.
A miracle worked by fear. Sit down and write this letter, Grébeauval.
Yes, sir.
To the citizen Jean-Joseph Tallien. The single line now. Citizen, you have been warned. 3 exclamation marks. No signature.
Ingenious.
Send it to Tallien by messenger. Don't let him know.
Of course not.
If he's clever and won't appear, there won't be any trial. The court can be dismissed for lack of a defendant.
Magnificent.
Or, of course, there's something else. The victim is someone else. In that case, it'll be the simplest thing in the world. Now, go and instruct that trembling idiot out there what he is to say and send off the message. Well, what are you waiting for?
Excuse me, citizen. I have a favor to ask.
What is it?
My wife is ill. There's no one to nurse her, and I ought to stay at home. Would it be possible for you to do without my services tonight?
You and your poor sick wife. Poor indispensable Grébeauval. I take it for granted you will be on duty tonight and on time.
Thank you, citizen. I merely asked.
You wouldn't listen to me. You got yourself into this. Now get yourself out. Anyone who tries to fight this man dies.
Is this touching demonstration a mark of affection for me? I cannot understand why you should be so upset. Fouquier has walked right into our trap.
You must play this mad practical joke through to the end. Well, I won't be a party to it. I won't be hurt by it. Brazier, I want to see the warrant. I want to see the name you've put on it. Show it to me.
Are you mad? I no longer have the warrant. My servant took it to the judge this afternoon. What's the matter? You look as if you want to murder me.
The whole trial is madness.
Are you trying to protect him?
I'm not concerned about Fouquier. Powerful forces are intriguing against us. They are planning an attempt on our lives. I know. We must overpower our adversaries, teach them a lesson. And what are we doing instead? Destroying the instrument, abolishing the law. Fouquier is willing to serve us, and we are going to kill him. It's madness.
You're chasing shadows. No one's plotting against you.
Then why have I been warned?
Who warned you?
A friend. I still have friends. Terror is absolutely necessary in our lives. We cannot discard it like an old coat. The law of terror must not be repealed. We shall need it. This trial must not take place.
I see. When Fouquier Tinville arrives, we make him a little speech. Dear Citizen Fouquier, I made a little plan to wipe you out. Now I realize I was acting foolishly. We need your services and can't do without you. You'll find that most amusing, won't he? I warn you, Tallien. I will not be stopped.
Very well. I hope everything works out, that's all. Supposing he saw through our game ages ago.
He knows nothing. His own police have informed me he knows nothing, suspects nothing. Tallien, don't go on. If I hadn't come into your life, I would never have been in danger. And you would have stayed exactly what you were. A common murderer, thief, and blackmailer for the rest of your days.
I remember this.
Make a note of it.
Don't worry, I won't forget.
So much the better.
The witnesses are present? Waiting outside, citizen.
The guards?
Guards?
The building is surrounded?
As you ordered.
I hold you responsible for all the preparations. Greetings, citizens. It seems we shall have to wait a little longer.
Why? Are your preparations not complete?
The tribunal is ready.
Then the session can begin.
The man in question
is already present.
Very well.
I herewith open the session of the Tribunal of the Revolution. It is my duty to warn those present that anyone revealing any details of this trial to persons not connected with it automatically renders himself liable to the death penalty. The citizen public prosecutor will present his case.
This tribunal is revolutionary, but it is also truly republican. This tribunal is met tonight in secret session. When this tribunal arrives at a quick as well as merciless and irrevocable verdict, it will not be I who am responsible for that decision. I am responsible only for the efficiency of this court. The man who will be brought before this tribunal for trial in the next few minutes has succeeded in blotting out the tracks leading to the bloody deeds he committed in the past by giving his crimes the appearance of virtue and hatching his devilish plots in secret. Now the time has come to destroy the web of lies, treachery, and pretense he spun around himself, even in his dealings with his closest friends. Then he will stand unmasked. Fear, despair, and fury will hold him in their grasp, but we shall not permit him a word. This tribunal will not have to listen to a single shameless speech he may try to utter. Only citizens accused without proof have the opportunity to defend themselves in this court. For traitors, there is no defense. I herewith accuse this man of having used his official power to blackmail, rob, intimidate, and deceive. I charge him of conspiring against our government, of planning to starve the people, of accepting bribes. I charge him with planning to dissolve the National Assembly, a plan, I say, wicked enough to make the blood run cold.
Stop! Put an end to this trial! Stop now, at once!
I must ask you to remain silent.
I demand...
You have no permission to speak.
I order you!
In the name of this court.
This cold-blooded murderer, as I was saying...
Will you be quiet?
I order you, in the name of this court, not to interfere with the proceedings of this trial.
I will refrain from further comment. The present charges are sufficient. I have finished.
Guards! You will seize the man whose name I read out. You will hold him, whoever he may be. He is not allowed to speak.
Read the warrant.
In the name of the French Republic, giving consideration to the grave charges brought against the following person, and considering that there are witnesses to endorse the charges brought against him, as well as considering the threat to public security, we order to be placed under arrest the citizen Antoine Quentin Fouquier-Tinville. In order that he may be brought before and judged by the secret court of the Tribunal of the French Republic. Signed by the judge of the tribunal, Montanet. Witnesses?
I demand...
Prisoner will keep silent. Your name, please?
Jean-Marie Fabricius.
Age?
26.
Speak up.
26.
Occupation?
Former clerk to the tribunal.
Do you recognize the accused as the man you have come to testify against?
I do.
Proceed with your evidence.
The accused expressed in my presence the following opinions: that he would lend his full assistance to any favorable opportunity to overthrow the government and re-establish the dictatorship. That he hoped to be able to persuade the farmers to withhold their grain in order to promote speculation and discredit the government. That he intended to have several important citizens assassinated by hired criminals.
With my own eyes, I saw him commit his horrible crimes. He's the man who invented the so-called mass trials. He's the man who brought Danton and his friends to trial side by side with people like Delaunay. With my own ears, I heard him say, it doesn't matter if someone is innocent. Sooner or later, we will get them all.
Judas! Witness! You may stand down.
Robert Héron.
In the name of the French Republic, since the findings of the court have proved the defendant, Antoine Quentin Fouquier-Tinville, guilty of the charges brought against him, the tribunal of the French Republic has reached the following verdict. The prisoner is sentenced to be suspended immediately from his duty, to be declared outside the law. He is to be taken to the guillotine forthwith and to suffer death by decapitation. Guards!
Don't be afraid. You want to be free of the terror, to live in happiness with tranquil minds. There's a terror. My gown, my hat, the whole of my garb. There lies your terror. There. Keep it. It's lying at your feet. Who will be next to take it up? Which of you? Which? Which one?
Take him away! Guards! Take him down to the cells!
Talia! Talia! Beware! You have been warned!
I declare this court closed.
The Republic will reward you, citizen. I would like you to come to my house tomorrow. I'm sure you must know it. La Chaumière in Cours la Reine. You will meet the leading members of the government there.
It's very kind of you, madame, but I ask to be excused.
I am counting on your presence, citizen.
I shall be there, madame. I shall be there.
Leave those papers.
I merely want...
Leave them.
You may go to Greboval.
Citizen.
I wonder what he meant.
Who?
Fouquier. He said some strange things towards the end. I wish I knew what he was hinting at.
Come, let us go.
Ah, your folder. It's here.
What do you want with it?
Oh, I just want to see the documents.
They are not meant to be read.
Do you know what they are?
No.
Well, let us read them together.
They are the property of the tribunal.
Fouquier must have brought your file with him. I wonder... He must have thought that it...
Put that down. I will not tolerate this.
Take your hand away.
I won't have you spy in this way.
I will have these papers.
I refuse.
I insist. You really think I'm afraid of you, coward? I'm warning you, Tallien. You might be making a mistake.
I can look after myself.
There are even some people who might push you from your throne. Your Highness.
Let them try. I am ready.
I am ready, too.
We shall see.
Yes, indeed. We shall see.
Excuse me, citizen. May I have a word with you? May I express my deep satisfaction at the destruction of that man? I served him for a long time, but only with the utmost reluctance and hatred. May I hope... would you consider...
We have nothing against you personally, Greboval. You may keep your position as Secretary of the Tribunal.
I shall be eternally grateful. Eternally grateful.
Who besides me has ever understood the law? Who knows all its tricks, instructs the executioner, the witnesses, the informers? You will find me a conscientious officer who will not deviate a hair's breadth from his course. They know the weapon of fear would collapse as soon as it was taken from me. Because I am the only man who can think.
In tonight's presentation of The Public Prosecutor by Fritz Hochwalder, you heard Hugh Rouse as Fouquier Tinville, Beryl Gordon as Theresia, and Tony Jay as Greboval. Roger Spence played the part of Tallien. Others in the cast were Billy Matthews, Kerry Jordan, and James White. The Public Prosecutor was adapted and produced for Lux Radio Theatre by Michael McCabe. This is Playhouse 90. From the stages and studios, producers and playwrights of the world, Playhouse 90. Tonight we present a play written by Philip Levine called The Weather for Murder. This is the story of Sarah and Elsie, who run a small but busy tea shop in an English village.
Elsie aspires to becoming a great detective story writer, and her enthusiasm is considerably heightened when the Everett home catches fire and a charred body is found among the ruins. Philip Levine has succeeded in creating the atmosphere of a typical English village, and at the same time weave a story that will keep you enthralled. Listen now to The Weather for Murder, produced for Playhouse 90 by Michael Silver.
Sarah? Did I call? I've been shouting myself silly for the last 2 minutes.
Really? I was concentrating.
What on earth are you doing up here?
I had a sudden inspiration for a story. A most brilliant idea, Sarah. I was typing.
Well, surely it could have kept till later. You know we're rushed off our feet between 10 and 11. It's bad enough for the two of us. I can hardly cope on my own.
Oh, but this is the most ingenious idea. A whodunit. And it's set in one of those laundrettes. You know, where people take their laundry.
I'm afraid I can't stop and chatter now.
Oh, but Sarah, I must...
Listen, dear, listen. Now, leave that for now and come along down.
Good morning, Elsie.
Oh, Mr. Everett. The usual?
Please. I seem to have missed the rush.
Yes, we were frightfully busy earlier on. I was just about to have my coffee, too.
Well, join me if you like.
Oh, may I? Anything with your coffee?
Just a plain bun, I think.
Right. I shan't be a jiffy. Yours is half and half, if I remember rightly.
Yes. No milk for you?
No, I prefer mine black. They say it keeps the mind alert and clear, and that's very essential if one's doing creative work, don't you think?
How's the writing coming along?
Not too badly, but it's so difficult finding new ideas.
I don't doubt it. Still, I admire you for even trying. So many people just talk about writing, never do anything. I think it's very courageous of you.
Oh, excuse me just a moment. There's the postman. Oh, dear.
Oh, another rejection?
I'm sorry to say.
Never mind. There are a great many other publishers.
No, I'm afraid there aren't. I've exhausted them all.
Well, then, there'll be other novels.
And I was so sure I'd sell this one. Into the wastepaper basket, I suppose.
Tell me what it was about.
Oh, I'd hate to bore you.
Oh, you never bore me, Elsie. On the contrary. Now, come along.
Well, it was about a private detective in Soho.
Do you know any private detectives?
No, I don't.
Have you ever been to Soho?
No, but I've seen pictures and read books.
Well, that's the trouble, you see. The best novelists write from their own experience.
Possibly, but... Well, I could hardly write about Froxdean, could I? So dull and boring. And this tea shop would hardly make a very exciting background for a thriller.
I wouldn't say that. At least you know the people. And murder isn't limited to any particular background or class. I'll bet there isn't a person anywhere who hasn't thought about murdering someone at some time.
Oh, not you, surely, Mr. Everett.
Oh, you'd be surprised. And, whilst I remember, I wish you'd call me Victor.
Oh, well, as long as Mrs. Everett won't object.
Why should she? Now, if you'll take my advice, Elsie, you'll start your next novel nearer home.
I'll try. I must say I'm getting a little tired of rejection slips. Oh, more coffee.
Just a little.
Oh, by the way, I knew there was something I wanted to ask you. What happened to that dog of yours?
My dog?
Yes, Dandy. Wasn't that what you called him? Such a beautiful Labrador, and quite the best coat I've ever seen.
I'm afraid I had to get rid of him.
Oh, not destroyed?
No, I had to find him a new home.
Oh, how could you part with him?
It wasn't through choice. Nora, Mrs. Everett, felt there wasn't room for him in the cottage. We've one or two fine pieces, and, well, he was rather a large dog.
Oh, what a pity.
Yes, but one has to give and take in marriage.
I suppose so. Anyway, you still have your dahlias.
Well, no, I haven't actually.
But I thought you had a wonderful collection.
I did, but Nora doesn't care for dahlias. She says they attract blackfly. We've switched to a herbaceous border.
Oh, how sad.
Oh, not really. I must say those blackfly were a bit of a nuisance.
I heard that one year you took almost every prize at the county show.
That's quite right, I did. Before you and your sister came here. Before I remarried. Several summers ago. It's odd when I think back now. Just Dandy and I, my dahlias, blackfly and all.
Your wife's from London, isn't she?
Yes, though we first met on a cruise. It's funny how it happened. My first holiday in years. She was a science teacher, you know. You wouldn't think it to look at her, but she's terribly bright, good brain. We seemed to get thrown together on the cruise. We were never out of each other's company. When I got back, I found I missed her. I wrote, and then out of the blue, she turned up here. And, well, that was that. Not terribly romantic. Won't give you much copy, I'm afraid.
I'm surprised you stayed on in Froxdean.
Well, at first, Nora was all for moving back to town. Then suddenly she changed her mind. I think it was the cottage.
Well, I don't blame her. I've only seen it from the outside, but it looks adorable. I love that beautiful bay window.
That's the lounge.
Oh, is it? It looks rather like an inn with that, what do you call it, bubble glass?
Bullion glass.
Oh.
Genuine, too. Not this mass-produced stuff. Gets a bit warm in the summer, but I must say I find it delightful. The only thing is, one has to be careful with the furniture, or the sun can blister the varnish.
Still, with such a delightful cottage, you must be enjoying your retirement.
Oh, I'm not completely retired, not by a long chalk. I'm still on the boards of several companies.
Are you?
Yes, Harmsworth's, Mutual Investments, not forgetting Berridge's.
What, the big London store?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I'll be driving up to a board meeting tomorrow. You wouldn't be going up to town, would you?
Me?
I thought perhaps I could give you a lift. We might have a bite of lunch together.
Oh, well, thank you, but I rarely go up to town.
Oh, well, some other time. Oh, here's your sister. It was time I was off. I'll take my bill, if I may.
Good morning, Mr. Everett.
Hello.
I'm glad I've caught you. I wonder if I might have a word with you.
Certainly.
Here, Elsie, take this sink tidy into Millie, would you? And then say you may as well take these groceries while you're at it.
Oh, yes, Sarah.
Oh, and tell Millie there'll be a delivery around about 3 this afternoon.
Righto.
Well, now, I hope I'm not holding you up.
No. What can I do for you?
Well, to come straight to the point, it's about that small vacant plot next door. I understand from my solicitors that it belongs to you.
I bought it some years ago. It was part of the old Lingfield estate.
Well, my sister and I were thinking of enlarging the shop. We're rather cramped here, as you can see.
You'll need permission from the local council.
Oh, I realize that. But I don't see why they should object.
Neither do I. Only, if you're thinking of making an offer, don't make it to me.
I'm sorry?
I made over a few properties to my wife at the time of our marriage, and I have a feeling that that's among them.
Oh, I see.
But there's no harm in your having a word with her. I'll tell you what, I'll mention it to her when I get back, and ask her to telephone you.
Would you? I'd be most grateful.
But knowing my wife, I'd better warn you, she'll drive a hard bargain.
Elsie? That wasn't Mrs. Everett on the phone, by any chance?
No, Mrs. Clark from the post office. She asked me to put aside a jam sponge.
I should think Mr. Everett forgot to speak to her.
Oh, if he promised, then I'm sure he will. He's a frightfully nice man. Such perfect manners.
Yes, but easily led. Fancy handing property to his wife just like that.
Well, that shows how considerate he is. I admire him for it. I think Mrs. Everett's a very fortunate woman.
You're not the only one. From what I hear, there were quite a few broken hearts in Foxveen when the banns went up. Isn't that right, Millie?
Oh, yes, Mum. There were dozens who had their eye on him. Well, a cottage and car and pots of money. I wouldn't have said no to him myself. Still, he hasn't done bad for himself, has he? I mean, she's a very smart person, not at all bad-looking. Got pots herself, I expect.
Sharp, Elsie. Right, Sarah. Oh, that smells like the scones. Here, take the cloth or you'll burn your fingers.
Oh, good morning, Mrs. Everett.
Good morning. I'll take a wholemeal loaf and a small gâteau.
Oh, certainly.
Oh, is that all you've got? Chocolate? The one I had the other day was rather sickly. Haven't you anything else?
Oh, well, we've a new line, walnut cream. I'm sure you'd like that.
May I see one?
Well, Millie's just topping them with walnuts.
Well, I've a lot to do this morning. How long will they be?
5 minutes, no more.
Well, if I've got to hang around, I'll have a cup of coffee.
Oh, well, I shan't keep you waiting long. Mrs. Everett's just come in. She's staying for coffee.
Really?
Would you believe it, Sarah? She said our chocolate gâteau was sick.
Oh, what nonsense. We've never had any complaints before.
I know. I almost gave her a piece of my mind.
Oh, well, I hope you didn't.
Oh, of course not. I persuaded her to try one of the walnut creams. Are they ready yet?
Oh, almost. I'll be through in a jiffy.
Well, then I'd better take in her coffee meantime.
No, Elsie. I'll serve her. It'll be a good opportunity to talk to her about that plot next door. Black or white, Mrs. Everett?
Just a dash. That's fine.
Oh, there's no sugar bowl. Just a moment.
Don't bother. I take saccharine. I've got my tube somewhere.
Of course, I should have remembered by now. Anything else for you?
Not just now. Though I'm glad you brought the coffee in, Miss Pierce. It saves my telephoning. My husband mentioned you've been inquiring about the plot next door.
Yes. As he may have told you, we're anxious to enlarge our premises.
Business is flourishing, isn't it?
Oh, no, not exactly. But as you can see, we're rather limited for space. In our busy time, it becomes rather chaotic.
I see. Well, what sort of figure had you in mind?
Oh, I'm not very sure. Judging from what we gave for these premises, I suppose the land must be worth about 300.
300? Oh, Miss Pierce, you're way behind the times.
Oh.
In the past year, prices have simply soared.
Have they?
Don't you read your newspapers? Building lands at a premium, particularly in the rural areas. There are so many restrictions under town and country planning.
Oh, but I'm sure we get permission to build.
Yes, but then so could a great many other people. Yours isn't the first inquiry I've had. No, I'm afraid I couldn't let that plot go under 1,200.
1,200? Oh, but that's exorbitant. Why, it's more than we paid for our entire premises.
Then all I can say is you were very lucky that you purchased when you did.
But sure.
Now, I don't think there's much point in our discussing the matter any further, do you? So if my gâteau's ready, I'll settle the bill, and then I must fly. I've a very busy day ahead of me.
Elsie, if you're on your way to the kitchen, put on the other fan, will you? It's terribly close.
Yes, I intended to. 2 pots of tea, Millie, 1 china and an egg on toast.
Isn't it turned warm? Now I'm sweltering.
Me too, you can say that again.
Still, I suppose I should be thankful I've no traffic duty. I wouldn't fancy that with the thermometer touching 80.
Is it as high as that, Sergeant?
A sudden high ridge sweeping in from the Azores.
Oh, is that what it is?
For once the experts were right.
Well, it's been a very poor summer so far.
Well, that's your telephone.
Answer that, would you, Millie?
Yes, Mum.
Oh, it's all right. Millie's taken.
Phew, I could do with an issue of Tropical Kiss.
Oh, I'm sure you'll feel refreshed once you've had your tea.
Well, let's have an ashtray while you're here, would you?
Oh, certainly. Here you are.
Ta.
Oh, I meant to tell you, Sergeant, I've given up writing stories about private detectives. I'm going to concentrate on something nearer home from my own experience.
That should be interesting.
Sergeant Foster.
Yes, what is it, Millie?
Oh, just now.
Now, just take it easy. Catch your breath.
That was your constable. He's had an urgent call. The Everett cottage is on fire.
I'm afraid there's little we can do, Sergeant.
Like a raging furnace in there.
Are you sure there's no one inside?
My men couldn't get within 10 yards of the place. We can only hope and pray.
How do you think it started?
Oh, your guess is as good as mine. The county will be investigating later. That old timber construction's a menace. Once it's alight, there's no holding it.
Yes, some blaze.
Oh, we're lucky it's isolated. At least there's no damage to surrounding property.
You'll have to watch that garden shed.
Not to worry. My men have got their eyes on it. I see we got ourselves an audience.
Yes, half the village have turned out by the look of it.
I wish they'd keep their distance. They're getting a bit too close to that fence.
Leave it to me. I'll handle them. All right now, folks. Keep well away from that fence. Come along now, right now.
Sergeant, what a pity about that lovely cottage.
Elsie, what are you doing down here?
I never could resist the fire.
I must see you won't see another one like this in a hurry. That roof will be in a minute.
Is Mrs. Everett safe?
Oh, we're keeping our fingers crossed.
She was in the shop this morning.
Was she? Well, what about her husband?
He's gone up to London for a board meeting. He mentioned something yesterday.
Where was this meeting, did he say?
Yes. He's a director of Veligent.
Oh, that's helpful. I'll try and get him on the blower right away. No, you keep away from that fence, please.
Hello, Everett speaking. Well, please come to the point, Sergeant. I'm in the middle of a board meeting. What? When did this happen? I see. Is my wife all right? Well, if she returns before I get there, tell her I'm on my way back. Yes, I should be there by 6. Yes, thank you, Sergeant.
Honestly, Elsie, I don't understand people at all. They only have to hear the word fire, and they start behaving like a bunch of school children.
Oh, Sarah, it's just natural curiosity.
Well, I can't see anything natural about it. It's morbid, if you ask me. I've never seen such a stampede. You, Millie, the place emptied itself so quickly, you'd have thought the tea shop was on fire.
You should have come too, Sarah.
I find little joy in watching other people's property going up in smoke.
It was still burning when I left. Poor Mr. Everett. Oh, he'd be so upset.
Yes. Well, I hope he had the good sense to be insured.
But that'll hardly compensate for the loss of such a charming cottage and all the inconvenience. I mean, where will the Everetts live?
Oh, they'll have to find a hotel.
Oh, to think of all their beautiful antique furniture.
Well, it'll be replaced if it's insured.
Oh, but Sarah, it's not the same.
Oh, be practical, Elsie. One chair's the same as another.
But they've lost everything except the garden shed.
Oh, it's about time Millie was back. I've something to say to her, gallivanting off without so much as a by your leave.
Oh, there she is.
And about time.
I'm so sorry, ma'am. The most terrible thing's happened.
No?
The firemen found a body in the cottage.
Oh, no.
It's Mrs. Everett, there's no doubt. And to think she was in here only this morning.
Now, use your handkerchief, Millie, for goodness sake. Are they certain it was Mrs. Everett?
Yes. I heard the fireman say, and Sergeant Foster was there, too. He phoned Mr. Everett, but they didn't know at the time.
How dreadful.
It was dreadful, ma'am. They had a police car there, and she was all covered in a sheet.
Yes, now, all right, Millie. Now, just pull yourself together. Get these tea things washed up, and then you can go off.
All right, ma'am.
Poor Mr. Everett.
Yes, very sad. But people get over these things. They're just like everything else.
Still, Sarah, we could offer to help.
Help? In what way?
It's an awful thought. The poor man will have to stay alone in some ghastly hotel room. Couldn't we offer to put him up for a day or so?
Well, I suppose
we've got a spare room, and he wouldn't be too much bother. He could eat down here. Oh, surely it's the least we can do.
Well, providing he hasn't made any other arrangements. After all, he might prefer the hotel.
I'll go across to the police station when we've closed. I expect he'll be there later on.
Here, Mr. Everett.
Thank you, Sergeant.
I know it's been a dreadful shock, sir. I hate to have to ask you to do this, but it's necessary for identification purposes.
I understand.
Just a glance, that's all, sir. She was lying face downwards, so it's not as bad as it might have been.
That's my wife, Sergeant.
Here, steady, sir.
I'll be all right. There's a deed box in my office. I'm afraid that's all that is salvage.
Thank you. I suppose I'd better look around for a room of some sort.
Oh, no need to bother, sir. Miss Pierce from the tea room said they'd be happy to put you up.
Really? I don't know whether I want to bother them.
They'd be only too pleased. You'll be much more comfortable there than in an hotel. And we shall need you for the inquest.
Victor Everett, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Do take a seat, Mr. Everett.
Thank you.
You are Victor Everett, formerly of Hillside Cottage, Meadows Lane, Froxby.
Yes.
On what occasion did you last see your wife?
On the morning of the 16th of July, at about 10:30. I was due at a meeting in London that afternoon, but I thought I'd go up a little earlier. My wife had some shopping to do. We left the house together, as I say, around 10:30.
And later that day, at approximately 6:15 p.m., you identified the body of a woman at the Froxdean police station as that of your wife?
Yes.
And now, Mr. Everett, although we shall be calling an expert witness in a few moments, have you any comments to make at this stage as to the cause of the fire?
No, I'm afraid I haven't. We used no gas in the house. My wife preferred electricity. And the entire cottage was rewired by the board about 18 months ago, shortly after my wife and I were married.
Was your wife in the habit of smoking?
No.
Were there any inflammable materials stored in the house?
None as far as I know. I've a bottle of thinners and some methylated spirits, but they're kept in the garden shed, well away from the house.
So you can offer no explanation as to the cause of the fire?
I'm afraid I can't.
Thank you, Mr. Everett. You may step down. Mr. R.A. Jenkins, County Fire Officer. Mr. Jenkins?
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
On the 16th of July, you examined the debris and what remained of the residence known as Hillside Cottage, Meadow Lane, Froxdean.
I did, yes.
And did you reach any conclusion as to the origin of this fire?
I did, sir.
Will you state these conclusions to the court?
Certainly, sir. I examined the gas outlets and the main electricity supply. There were no signs of the fire originating from either of these points. Samples of the debris were tested for the presence of volatile, inflammable materials, but these proved negative.
Do go on, Mr. Jenkins.
I've had extensive experience locating what is known as the seat of the fire. That is, sir, its point of origin. And I'm of the opinion that the fire commenced in the region of the lounge window.
How exactly?
Well, the afternoon of the 16th was extremely hot, sir. Temperatures were in the 80s. The lounge window contained bullion glass. Now, due to several factors, the angle of the sun, the bubble in the glass, the sun's rays were concentrated onto the curtains, rather like a child playing with a magnifying glass. I should say that the temperature reached, well, it might have been in the neighborhood of 200 or 230 degrees centigrade, sufficient to ignite a certain make of cotton or similar fiber.
Were they of cotton?
I can't say, sir. They were completely destroyed in the fire, though the residue suggests that they may have been, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. You have been most helpful.
Thanks, sir.
In the case of Venora Everett, aged 42, who died in a fire at Hillside Cottage, Froxdean, we have heard the evidence of her husband, also the police pathologist and the county fire officer. And from their evidence, it appears that this fire was the accidental outcome of the combination of a number of elements.
Come in.
I hope I'm not disturbing you, Mr. Everett. I brought a few flowers from the garden to help cheer up the room.
I saw you cutting them. I didn't realize they were for me. Dahlias, too.
Are you quite comfortable?
Very. I really can't thank you and your sister enough. You've been so very kind.
Oh, not at all.
Though I don't think I can impose on you very much longer. I've been here over a week.
You're no trouble at all. It's quite a change having a man around the house.
I'm negotiating for another cottage, but these things take a little time.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you're welcome to stay till everything's settled.
Oh, thank you. How's the writing coming along?
Well, I've been thinking about what you said. finding a subject nearer home.
Yes?
And to tell the truth, I did get an idea. But on reflection, I thought it might be in bad taste.
Well, that immediately makes me prick up my ears. Tell me more.
Must I?
Oh, come now. It surely can't be as bad as all that.
Well, you might change your mind if I tell you.
Try me.
Well, if you must know, it came to me during the inquest.
The inquest?
On your wife.
Please do go on.
Well, I thought it might be an idea to start my story with a fire in the village.
Oh, well, that's rather old hat, isn't it? I mean, it's been done so many times.
Yes, I suppose it has. I haven't really worked it out in detail. I thought I'd talk it over with Sergeant Foster when he drops in for tea. Unless, of course, you object.
Why on earth should I? No, do go ahead. Though, personally, I should have looked for something a little more original.
Oh, have you seen the Gazette, Sergeant Foster?
Hey, what's that?
Yeah, there's a picture of you and Mr. Everett leaving the coroner's court.
Oh, is there? Those reporters, they can't leave well alone.
Look, Mr. Everett turned away slightly, but it's a very good likeness of you.
Oh, let's see. Oh, that's an insult if ever I saw one. By the way, I noticed you at the inquest, Elsie. You're scribbling away in your notebook.
Oh, did you, Sergeant? Yes, you see, finding myself in the coroner's court amidst tragedies, you might say, I had a sudden inspiration.
Out for another thriller.
Why, yes, the best novelists always write from their own experience.
Yeah, watch your step. That sort of thing can upset people, you know. Mr. Everett, I think.
Oh, he doesn't mind. Besides, I shouldn't use real names.
If you did, my girl, you'd find yourself with a libel suit.
No, Sergeant, my village will be entirely fictitious. I was going to call it Medborough or something far removed. I wouldn't think of giving offence.
Well, who's your choice for a victim?
I had in mind an attractive middle-aged woman.
Yeah, that's pushing coincidence a bit far, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Yes, I see what you mean. Oh, well, she could be young, I suppose. It doesn't really matter.
What about the method? Given that any thought?
Well, to be honest, the thing that sparked me up, forgive the pun, was the idea of the bullion glass. But instead of being an accident, the fire is caused deliberately in my book.
Sounds a bit far-fetched to me.
Well, I dare say it is. But I was hoping you'd be of some help instead of putting a damper on it.
But you must be realistic, Elsie. Perfect murder requires, among other things, perfect timing. No murder would ever leave things to chance. What happened at Hillside Cottage depended on quite a few things outside anyone's control. Well, for one thing, the weather. Then Mrs. Everett being alone and dropping off like that. As the fire expert said, the choice of curtains.
Oh, yes, you have a point there.
Mind you, I suppose there is such a thing as dramatic license. Anything's possible when you come to think of it. Off the record, of course, I suppose your murderer could have kept his eye on the weather reports. Just waiting for scorcher. But with our climate, he'd have to wait half a lifetime. And then to make sure the victim did drop off, you could always slip her a couple of sleeping tablets.
Oh, but wouldn't that show at the autopsy?
Oh, depends what's left of the victim. In a case of fire, it's unlikely. Then regarding the curtains, I suppose one could persuade the victim to buy cotton. Though that's stretching the imagination a bit, isn't it?
Yes, it doesn't sound very convincing. Anyway, even if the husband did go to all that trouble, how on earth would I catch him out?
The husband, you mean?
Yes, how would I solve it?
That's your little problem. I'm no writer. Though for what it's worth, in my experience, criminals invariably have to lie somewhere along the way. And the trouble with liars is that they have such bad memories. Sooner or later, they drop a clanger. So, when you settle down at your typewriter, I'd bear that in mind if I were you.
Oh, forgive me, Elsie. I didn't realize you were in here.
Do come in, Mr. Everett. You're at liberty to use the sitting room.
I've just been across for an evening paper. I bought you a magazine.
Oh, how nice of you. But you should.
Very little in return for your kindness.
The pot's still warm. Would you like a cup?
Thank you. No. Don't get up. I'll see to it. Would you like a second? It'd give me pleasure to serve you for a change.
Oh, well, thank you. Oh, Sarah's at a club committee meeting.
Another?
She can't sit still for a moment. Always doing something. Been like that all her life, even as a child.
It must get rather lonely for you.
Oh, I'm used to it.
I'm afraid that is one thing I've never got used to. Loneliness. I'm a person who needs companionship.
Oh, you must miss her dreadfully.
Mm-hmm. Who?
Your wife.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I'm sorry. That was tactless of me.
Not at all. One can't grieve forever, can one?
Oh, do forgive me. Would you like a slice of cake? It's chocolate.
Yes, I think I will. But not too large a slice.
It's our own make, you know.
Yes, I've had your gâteaux on several occasions. They're excellent. But the one I'm really partial to is that new one of yours. What do you call it? Walnut cream?
Yes, that's one of Sarah's creations. Walnut cream, did you say?
Yes. Even Nora was aghast when I asked her for a second helping. Oh, don't look so surprised. I've a very sweet tooth. I'm sure you must have noticed.
Yes, of course.
Oh, what is it? Are you all right?
I'm sorry. I hope you won't think I'm being rude, but I have a slight headache. I think I'll have an early night.
Elsie? Oh, in bed already?
Yes, I was feeling rather tired.
Oh, well, then I won't disturb you.
No, don't go, Sarah. Did the meeting go well?
Very. The bazaar's to be held on the 25th. I've promised them one or two things.
I should give them a sponge or a gâteau.
Oh, I probably will.
That new one of yours, walnut cream, is very popular.
Yes, I'm rather proud of that one.
You know, Sarah, I've suddenly realized that Mrs. Everett had the very first one.
Did she? Oh, yes, you're right. I remember now, the day of the fire. Oh, I expect it must have gone up in smoke.
And if Mr. Everett drove up to London at 10:20, he couldn't have had any either.
Well, he's made up for it. He had several portions at tea yesterday.
Did he? But what I meant was...
Now, look, Elsie, you lie back and let me straighten your pillows.
Oh.
If you're feeling tired, this is no time to chat.
Your tea cake, Mr. Rayson.
Oh, you'll be the ruin of me, Elsie. Oh, here, you're looking a trifle pale this morning. Have you had a bad night?
I didn't sleep too well.
You ought to try a nightcap. Or maybe you need a tonic. Come across the shop and I'll fix you up.
No, I don't think it's anything to worry about.
Well, whatever else you take, don't let me see you with a prescription for sleeping tablets. Although I sell them, I don't approve of them. It's a bad habit to get into.
Well, I've never taken any.
Well, you shouldn't start. I squirm every time I see the word phenobarbital. It's almost a sign of the times.
Is it?
Confidentially, if you knew the number of people that take sleeping tablets, oh, you'd have a fit. In this village, too.
Really?
Mrs. Turner from the manor.
No.
Bert Parker at the pub. Mrs. Denton. Mr. Everett. Charlie Miller.
Mr. Everett, did you say?
Yes, I thought that would shake you. I filled in a prescription for him not a fortnight ago.
Oh, yes, he went out early.
Where to, did he say?
Oh, he's gone along to the cottage, I think.
What? Hillside Cottage?
I suspect so. Oh, fancy going back there. It gives me the creeps every time I walk by.
Look, Minnie, I'm going out for a little while. If my sister wants me, tell her I'll be back within the hour.
Oh, it's you, Elsie. Oh, you did startle me for a moment.
I'm sorry, Mr. Everett.
What are you doing here?
Oh, just taking a stroll. I noticed the shed was slightly ajar, and I thought someone had broken in.
No, it's been under lock and key since the fire. I came by for a few tools.
What have you got there?
Hmm?
In your hand?
Oh, this tin, you mean. Just some sodium chlorate. Your path could do with some weeding. I thought I'd make myself useful. Also, 1 or 2 of your dahlias need staking. I've a whole pile of stakes going begging. Haven't used them since Nora switched to the herbaceous border. You don't mind my helping out in the garden?
No, I'm sure Sarah will be most grateful.
What about you? I was hoping to save you a few back-breaking jobs.
Thank you.
Elsie, I've a confession to make to you.
Oh?
It's odd. I don't normally find it easy to talk to people. Yet, with you, I never seem to have any difficulty. You know, I felt that from the first time I came into the tea room over a year ago.
You were saying something about a confession.
Yes. The trouble is where to begin.
Is it about your wife?
I can see one can't keep things hidden from you. The truth is, we didn't get on very well. During the last 6 months, it became almost unbearable. I won't go into all the reasons, but as most people around here know, she was an impossible woman. It was as much as I could do to sit in the same room with her. I escaped whenever I could. You know, your tea room was a haven to me. Oh, the fire was a shocking, dreadful thing to have happened. But if I'm going to be honest, I'm not unhappy.
Why are you telling me this?
Because well, with everyone offering their condolences, it's been a great strain having to keep up this pretense. I needed to tell someone. Who better than you?
I think I ought to be getting back. It's almost lunchtime.
My car's parked down at the bottom of the lane. I'll give you a lift. Isn't the countryside beautiful this time of the year?
Yes. You were up early this morning, weren't you?
I've always been an early riser.
Didn't you sleep well?
On the contrary, never better.
Sarah came in rather late. I thought she may have disturbed you.
No, I'm a very heavy sleeper.
Have you always been like that?
Since I can remember. I'm one of those people who drop off the moment their head touches the pillow.
Could I have my bill, Elsie, please?
Coming, Mrs. Clark. Let's see, it was just the roast and a sweet, wasn't it?
Yes. Sorry to rush you. It's my busy day today. Pensions and postal orders.
Oh, well, that's 3 and 4pence.
Oh, well, there we are.
Thank you. Oh, you haven't by any chance seen Sergeant Foster, have you?
Oh, hasn't he been in?
Not yet.
Oh, probably over at the county court. I should think he'll be in later on. I can't see him missing the roast. Pass me my coat, there's a dear. Thanks. Oh, by the way, is that Mr. Everett still with you?
Yes.
You know, my husband and I offered to put him up, but you got in first. Though I don't doubt he's comfortable here, but not much trouble either, is he?
None at all.
Oh, awful things have happened when you come to think of it. Such a nice man and so considerate to her, although she was a bit of a so-and-so. I've never known a man worry so much about his wife's health and comfort as he did.
Really?
Oh, yes. You know, she was very susceptible to rheumatism, was Mrs. Everett. Nothing serious, but, well, he never take any chances with her. This'll take a lot of believing, but do you know, he used to ring me up at the post office daily to put him through to London for the weather report. Never missed a day throughout the summer, just in case there was rain. And wasn't that considerate?
Yes, very.
Oh, look at the time. I'll have a queue of customers at the counter, I'll bet. Oh, here's Sergeant Foster now.
Hello, Mrs. Clark.
I can't stop, just off. Bye.
Is the roast still on, Elsie?
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you've come,
Well,
Sergeant.
a generous portion for a hungry copper, eh? Then maybe we'll talk shop. But go on at the double. I'm famished. Go on.
Finished with your plate, Sergeant.
Thanks, sir. Lovely bit of beef.
Glad you enjoyed it. Elsie's bringing the coffee.
I seem to be your last customer. Hope I'm not holding you up.
Oh, no. We won't start serving tea until about 3.
Coffee, Sergeant.
Oh, thanks, Elsie.
Oh, Elsie, while I remember, as it's half day tomorrow, I've promised to help with the bazaar. Will you be going out?
I don't think so. Why?
That new mixer should be arriving. I'd like someone here to take delivery.
Well, I'll be in.
Fine. Then I can let Millie off.
You're certainly kept busy round here, aren't you? I don't know how you find time to write.
Oh, I make a habit of writing so much each day, usually after we close.
Find a solution to your story yet?
Yes and no. You remember that lie you spoke about?
Huh?
Well, I had an idea about that. In my story, the wife purchases a cake on the day of the fire after the husband was supposed to have gone up to town. It was a new kind of cake, but the husband, at some later date, remarks on its flavor. Now, that would prove he was at the house at the time of the fire, wouldn't it?
Not bad, but it might be difficult to convince the jury.
But if one could prove he got a prescription for sleeping tablets, although he was a sound sleeper.
Possessing tablets doesn't mean he administered them.
But if one also has a witness to prove that he made daily inquiries about the weather on the pretense of his wife's rheumatism.
You'd still have to prove criminal intent. That merely sounds like the action of a considerate husband. No, you'd need something more definite than that. Now, I don't want to encroach on your territory.
Oh, please do, Sergeant.
I think some of the ideas are jolly good, eh? But you know where the weakness lies, don't you?
No.
Those curtains. You see, cottons vary, so no matter how hot it was, you could never be certain they'd catch a light.
Unless one experimented.
Still a bit risky. No, what is needed is some really inflammable material. Say a piece of loose-weave cellulose net.
Loose-weave cellulose net?
Oh, after all, it is pretty commonplace, and it was hung in front of the other curtains. You see, no one would give it a second glance, and it wouldn't leave any trace.
Yes, it's certainly an idea.
And then to be doubly sure, it would need impregnating with something highly inflammable. Not petrol or anything like that, but something odorless. Let me see. Something like sodium chlorate.
Sodium chlorate?
Yes, it's used in weed killers. But you can buy it neat without a prescription. I bet there's a tin in almost every other garden shade.
Yes.
I see I've given you something to think about, so I'd better take my leave. Oh, just one other thing. What about the motive?
Motive?
Well, one doesn't generally commit murder without rhyme or reason. Is the husband hard up?
No. I imagined him to be quite well off.
Oh, well, then, if it isn't revenge or fear, that leaves you with the other woman.
The other woman?
Yeah, you know, the sort of thing. A sympathetic friend in the background. Someone he can escape to when the wife's got too much for him.
Would a man really commit murder for another woman?
You're joking. What better motive than the eternal triangle? Why, sometimes the other woman doesn't even know it's happening. The husband waits until the wife's dead and buried before he drops it in.
Really?
He's made you blush. I hope I haven't been too forward.
Oh, of course not, Sergeant.
Well, it's time I was moving. Hope the book goes well. But if it sells, I shall expect my 10%.
Elsie? Oh, why the coat? Going out or just coming in?
Won't be long, Sarah. I'm only going across to the drapers.
Oh, what for?
Nothing much. The sun bothers me when I'm at my typewriter. I thought I'd get a few yards of curtaining. Net.
Net? Oh, that's not terribly practical. Why don't you get a Venetian blind?
No, I'd rather have the net.
Yes, madam, can I help you?
Actually, all I need is some net.
Net? What kind of net?
Oh, loose weave, cellulose net. Do you stock such a thing?
Of course, madam. One moment. This what you had in mind, madam?
I'm not terribly sure. You see, I believe a friend of mine bought some here, and I'd rather like the same.
Oh, when did they purchase it?
Oh, within the last month.
What was the name?
Oh, Everett.
Everett? Oh, yes, that was a postal inquiry. I remember we supplied 6 yards loose weave cellulose net. The receipt is addressed to V. Everett.
V?
Yes, is that your friend?
What? On second thoughts, I don't think this is quite right for me. I'll leave it if you don't mind. I must let Sergeant Foster know right away.
Elsie, the laundry came. I put yours in your room. This is for Mr. Everett.
Oh, well, I'll put it in his room. Mr. Everett? Mr. Everett? A deed box. Open. Oh.
Elsie, what are you doing? That deed box was in the drawer when I left it. Who?
I suppose you've destroyed the receipt.
Receipt? What receipt?
Don't pretend, you know very well. The receipt from Harrington's for the cellulose net. You've gone quite pale, Mr. Everett. It's always something of a shock to be found out, isn't it?
Found out?
Is that all you can say? Not that I want to listen.
No, please.
Kindly let me pass, Mr. Everett.
No.
I asked you to let me pass.
Elsie, please, I must talk to you.
I see no point.
Look, I can guess what you must be thinking. You imagine that
Imagine? Really? Do you deny that you lied to the police and the coroner about the time you drove up to London?
No.
Or that you obtained a prescription for sleeping tablets when you sleep perfectly well without them?
You obviously know, so how can I deny it?
Or that for weeks you inquired daily about the weather?
That is perfectly true.
And finally that you purchased 6 yards of loose cellulose weed netting and impregnated it with weed killer to make it more inflammable?
That I do deny.
But I saw you with the tin of sodium chlorate.
But I didn't purchase it.
Your name was on the receipt for the net.
No, I can explain.
Don't deny it. I saw it with my own eyes.
Look, I don't blame you for what you're thinking.
That's most kind of you.
If only you'd listen to me, just for a few moments. Look, I'll move away from the door. It's unlocked. You're free to leave whenever you like. But just a few minutes of your time is all I ask. Please.
All right.
You remember that I told you that Nora and I didn't get on well together?
Yes.
Well, that was something of an understatement. The marriage was a terrible mistake. I'd have left her, but frankly, I couldn't bear the thought of a divorce and a scandal. And if you asked why she stayed, I can tell you in one word. Money.
But I thought she was quite well off.
Believe me, when I married her, I wasn't concerned one way or another. But she deliberately lied to me about her income. The fact is, she hadn't a penny, and there was little doubt about why she married me. You were quite right. On the day of the fire, I was at the cottage for lunch.
Then why did you?
All in good time. After lunch, Nora went across to the hatch to pour out the coffee. There was a mirror facing the table, and I saw her drop some tablets into one of the cups. I imagined it was her saccharin. But as she turned, I realized that my cup was the one with the tablets.
She handed you the wrong cup?
So I thought. I suppose I should have said something, but it would have led to an argument. Nora was never one to admit to a mistake.
So what did you do?
Well, there was some dessert. She asked me if I would like some gâteau. The walnut cream. I said yes. While she was cutting it, I swapped cups. Imagine my surprise when I found there was saccharin in my cup after all. I thought I'd made a mistake, and I could have kicked myself. There wasn't time to swap them again, so I quickly dropped a couple of pieces of sugar into her cup.
She didn't notice?
No. She suggested we take our coffee into the lounge. It was rather close in there, I remember. I wanted to get off to my board meeting, but Nora insisted I rest for a few minutes. We both sat there without a word when she suddenly dropped off. I was very grateful and crept out and left for London. During the drive, I reached for my handkerchief and found a small tube in my pocket.
What tube?
Nora's sleeping tablets.
Mr. Rayton said he supplied them to you.
He did. Nora rowed with everyone, including the local GP. Phenobarbiturins are on prescription, so I had to pretend they were for me. It was the same with the weather reports. She got a sudden mania about her health. If I didn't check, she wouldn't step out of the house.
But what were the tablets doing in your pocket?
Well, may you ask. I'd seen them on her dressing table earlier on. It was full. But now, 3 tablets were missing. I was bewildered, and then I remembered the coffee.
You mean she tried to drug you?
I didn't know what to think. Then after the board meeting, I received the message from Sergeant Foster. He didn't mention Nora, but during the drive back, I felt uneasy. It suddenly struck me that Nora may still have been in the cottage. Understand, I was confused. Supposing those tablets were meant for me. She drugged my coffee and planted the tablets in my pocket to make it look as though I'd taken them myself. And the fire wasn't just an accident. I realized that if traces of phenobarbital were found in Nora's stomach, it might prove very embarrassing for me, to say the least. That is why I lied about the time. Everything was destroyed in the fire except the old deed box. Nora used to keep odd bits of correspondence in it. I didn't look through it until after the inquest. I knew about the sodium chlorate, but it wasn't until I found this that I was certain Nora had tried to murder me.
Murder you?
There's little doubt. Here.
What is it?
It's a brief note from Harrington's confirming her order for the cellulose net.
But the receipt was it was marked out to you, V. Everett.
Her name was Venora. I called her Nora for short.
Venora?
The letter and the envelope were addressed to her, as you can see. She sent cash, but perhaps Harrington still have her letter, and you could easily confirm that she bought the weed killer in the high street.
Why didn't you go to the police?
For what purpose would it serve? Another inquest, more questions, reporters. I had enough the last time. Besides, I'd have to admit about having lunch at the cottage. And after all, if I could lie about one thing, I could lie about the tablets, the weather reports, and even the order for the net. I'll make no bones about it. You were the reason for my stupid evasions and lies.
I was?
Somehow, when I heard you typing away, I felt as though I was one of the characters, and yet I so much wanted to be. Elsie, you know that, well, long before this ghastly thing happened, how do I have to put it into words?
No, but I will.
You mean that you even want to describe my feelings for you? I'm still to be a character in your thriller?
Of course not. When you look at me like that, I know that I've been spending hours and hours trying to create life with a typewriter and a sheet of paper. Oh, Victor.
You believe me, then?
Don't be silly. Of course I do. I know what you need, Victor Everett.
You do?
Let's go over to the shop and have a nice cup of tea.
Oh, bless you.
You have just heard The Weather for Murder, produced for Playhouse 90 by Michael Silver. In tonight's play, you heard John Hayter as Everett, Sheila Holliday as Elsie, Helen Braithwaite as Sarah, Pamela Murray as Millie, Roger Spence as Rayton, Gabriel Bayman as Foster, and Kerry Jordan as Jenkins. We hope you've enjoyed tonight's play. Be sure to tune in next week for another theater date with the great in Playhouse 90. So until next Wednesday's Playhouse 90, a very good night to you all.